So thank you to intermission line. Now we start putting Ava onto the real piece of paper. So move intermission line out. Although I've analysed this as line. Line is pretty much the last thing I want to do. So I'm going to be kind of blocking some things in and getting a rough idea of where they are. But I'm just going to be using kind of patches rather than anything more kind of edgy and then coloured in. So with the stuff here, that's the point, should actually mention why I'm working at a one-to-one scale, or that while I am working at a one-to-one scale, I'm going to be describing things in terms of, 3/5 and 2/5 and thirds and quarters, so that this is a strategy that will work. This is a strategy that will work even if you're looking at reality or looking at something at a different scale. It is worthwhile, if you are doing a portrait that needs to look like the person, to work as close as possible to the same size that the original is. With a portrait a millimetre off on a portrait this scale, if you then work on a canvas this big, 1 millimetre ends up being really quite significant, and especially in certain areas of the face. We have a whole area of our brain designated to facial recognition, and it's actually one of the reasons why practicing portraiture, even if you're not interested in portraiture, is a really good way of honing your drawing skills, because most areas of drawing, your ability to see your mistakes will be tempered by your knowledge. But with portraiture, there's a whole area of your brain just designated for that, and so you'll be able to spot things really easily. Right, colouring in. So rather than, so I've got my bottom of the thing, so I know that this, I don't really want to go in and do line, but I've got a rough idea that this kind of starts here and ends here. So I'll put in a certain amount of blocking. I'll put in a certain amount of blocking there. I've got that sense of the top of hair. This appears to be happening roughly kind of there. And I've got this bit here. Oopsies, 1, 2, 3, 4, oopsies. So that's roughly at about, what do you call it? Oh, that's a bit far over. Move over a little bit further. And breathe. And you'll regularly have to kind of do things to help manage your state, because the analysis stage can get you into the critical stage. We're doing discernment rather than judgment. So these guys, now I actually know, because I made decisions about this composition, I actually know this eye is on the third line. That is on the third line. So I know that the eye is there, and I know this eye is roughly here. That looks about, yep, the mouth is about halfway down the canvas. So I'll just put in a patch there. So I'll get a rough idea. This bow appears to end kind of there. That's about as much line as I'm going to do at this stage. I'll say that. I'll just start padding this out, and then, actually, because I have just got line here. That helps, doesn't it? So that, is just under halfway. I'll just get a rough sense of that. And that's about just over halfway between there and there. So, and I know I've got a little corner missing there. This, so that's about, cool, so that's about a third. So, so that's about a third. So I know this arm is roughly coming to about here. And this is, that's roughly halfway. And I notice as well, though I haven't got the rest of the shoulder on here, I noticed earlier that the shoulders come into the head at a different point. Get a rough idea for that one there, rough idea for that one there. I've got this foot is coming in at a third. I know the hand is fitting into about there. Oops, a bit low, a bit high. The chin. So the chin is, let's say it's roughly there. I don't want to be any more committed than that. How good does that look? The early stages are really pretty vague. Put a bit more shade in there. And we want to get them vaguer. So at that point, I'm going to put that away and go back to the photograph. Say that. Don't put it. Don't put it. Don't put it. There you are. There you are. Hello, Eva. I've got a lever. Not too shiny. Let's just check she's not too shiny. Oops, and put that there. Put that there. So now that I've got those anchors in, I'm just going to put some gentle patches of dark and light. So one of the things we need to look at is where the lightest parts are in the canvas composition, and where some of the darkest parts are. And we need to relate other bits to those regularly. So for example, this, which I happen to know is a nice peach top, this nice pinky peach top, we know it's got a local colour of pinky peach, and the temptation will be to, oh, it looks like a frozen. No, I haven't. The temptation will be to do that sleeve the same kind of tone as that sleeve, but it's worth noting that that is significantly darker than that, and obviously within the shadows, darker still. Same with the face. So we've got light on here and we've got dark on here. So I'll just start putting in some general shade. So there's a general shade on that side of the face. There's definitely a general shade on this side of the t-shirt. A bit of shade in there. Put a patch in there. One sense of, again, I'm not overly committing. Should point out at this stage, and we will have a break to discuss materials. I am using the side of the pencil as much as possible. So anything you can do to keep your sense of humour and sense of lightness and joy and curiosity whilst you're working is a good thing, because we need to stay on the, we are analysing, but we're not analysing with language. So we need to do a version of analysing that quietens the voice. So, The lost language skills again. So, and as much as possible at this stage, I actually want to subvert any line that I already have. So this is an area where this part of the hand comes really handy. No pun intended. Honest. So I smushy. Just put that in. Smushy. So softened it off nicely. And go back in again. So that side of the face, a bit further in. This side of the face, a bit further out. Whoopsies. Excuse me. So where is the nose? So the nose bits. So the main thing with the nose is it's lit from beneath. There's a nice bit of light on it. So the nose is there, but also there. So the nose is definitely in this area. And get a bit more of the shadow on there. So I want to get that cheek in there. That lovely. So this is the stuff we're talking about when we're looking at form shadows. She's got these lovely dark bits as we go from the light into the shadow, and then later on you'll notice that this area is slightly lighter than when we've gone around this corner. So this edge here is lighter than these going around the corner form shadows. But I'll get a bit more dark in there. I'm not too committed to the edge, where the edge is. I'm working very lightly, so all of these lines could be erased. Just remind myself where the eyebrows are. Keep it cool. Hey, language skills gone. Music skills, not great neither. Let's put a bit of dark in there. And so that would be how I would block in and subvert. And at that point, I need to have a break because I won't know for sure if things are in exactly the right place until I've had a break. Having said that, it is quite nice when you are working like this. I would recommend that you regularly take a photograph of both your reference photo and your piece whilst you are looking at it, because when you look at it on a small screen, you will find it a lot easier to spot where you've made mistakes. So, intermission lion, and when we come back, we'll have a little break for a demo on the different tools.